Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 64 of Brat Said That. I am your host, Brat Jackson, along with my co-producer, Chad LGBT. We have some exciting news to talk about. We have there's so much going on since last show. I don't know where to start, but let's just get it out of the way. We're going to talk more about this in a little bit later, but the Vegas Golden Knights are going back to the Stanley Cup for the third time in 9 years. Yes, Vegas Golden Knights are going back to the Stanley Cup after sweeping the Colorado Avalanche. Vegas, what an amazing performance. What an amazing playoff it's been so far. But that is just the tip of the great news and great things that are coming, because the New York Knicks have made it back to the NBA Finals. The Vegas man in me is happy for the Golden Knights. The Long Island boy in me is happy about the New York Knicks. I mean, neither of my teams made it to the finals of the Stanley Cup, but still, what a monumental moment this is for this city, for New York. I got a lot of friends back home that I didn't even know they were into the Knicks. I see them posting about the Knicks, and I'm like, well, New York pride. And yes, New York pride. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. We still have so much to figure out. Who are the Knicks going to face? Is it going to be the Spurs? Is it going to be the Thunder? Well, I'll tell you right now, they just finished Game 6, and the Spurs, a dominant win over Game 6 to force a Game 7. And Carolina Hurricanes or Montreal Canadiens, we don't know yet, but it's so exciting. It is so exciting. I remember 2018 when they were the first expansion team to make it to the final or the Stanley Cup. They lost to the Capitals on Ovechkin. Boo. And then in 2023 they won and they made it to the Stanley Cup, defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning. And so if they happen to win this year, I am definitely going to that parade because I missed the other parade. And but let's get the show going. We have some things to celebrate, but as you know. Oh, by the way, the theme today is the Beatles. Yes, we're going to talk about the Beatles. We're going to talk about the influence the Beatles has on me and my family. My dad was a huge Beatles fan. So I only did it today because this day, a long time ago, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band was released. So I was like, hey, the Beatles are a good theme. But let's start the show. We need to talk about Monday Night Raw because, that seems like a long time ago. But it wasn't. It was on Monday. And today is Thursday. We try to do a show on Tuesday. Things didn't work out. Last night, things didn't work out. But we're doing it tonight. We're doing it now. And thank you for all joining. So, we'll do a quick Raw recap. Brock Lesnar sent a message to Obafemi en route to the rematch at WWE Clash in Italy. I am going to rule over Obafemi. Yes, the Beast versus the Ruler. It is official for next Sunday. Kind of weird to say Sunday now because it is in Italy, so technically it's Saturday there. Or it's Sunday. I don't know. I don't know how time works. The Beast has a message for Obafemi. Catch WWE action on the ESPN app, Netflix USA Network. By the way, I'd just like to point out, before we even start the show, I now, me and Babe, we kind of split, ESPN app, Netflix. You pay a lot for these providers and services. Now, I had family over and friends for WrestleMania, and the ESPN app kept freezing. Okay? Then I use a alternative method to watch Double or Nothing, and didn't freeze at all. So sometimes the internet always wins. But then Oba and Heyman, they got in the ring. This time I'm fighting to kill the Beast. Oba is ready to get his revenge. Then in a 5-star match, Penta defeated Javon Evans to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Like 5-star. 5-star. But then I gotta say, let everybody know, Logan Paul tore his MCL or ACL or KFC, whatever it was. He is going to be out for action. Tough break for the Vision. They lose Braun Breaker for a few months. Bronson Reed is out. Logan Paul is injured. And this Austin Theory is just unleashing assaults. He hit Joe Hendry with a chair shot after Henry was singing Paul, fire. I don't want to sing it. I don't want Austin Theory coming into my room and beating me up with a chair. So he is on a raw path. I think they're still the World Tag Team Champions. I don't think they got stripped, but I don't know. Then for the 10,000th time, Bayley and the Bird Lady, I like the tag team name, Bayley and the Bird Lady, Lila Valkyria, defeated Judgment Day. We've seen it. We've seen it before. Let's move on. Holy crap. Jimmy Uso, LA Knight, they're still doing their thing. It's like, like we said last time, LA Knight came back last Monday and it was like, hey, what are you doing? We just did this with the Vision. Now you're kind of doing all this bloodline business. And Jimmy Uso's like, stay out of it. It has nothing to do with you. So, yeah. Seth Rollins defeated Montez Ford in a really good match. I got to see that. I was working Monday, came home, watched the rest of Raw. And then Austin Theory was still whacking that chair. Took out Angelo Dawkins. And then a match I was surprised happened. Rey Mysterio is still killing it. He defeated Rusev in a match. Out came because it was Rusev for Mysterio. Dragon Lee comes out, Ethan Page comes out, and then Penta comes out. So it's like a bunch of masked men against Ethan Page and Rusev. And then the Tribal Combat Contract. Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu exchanged intense words of war. I'm looking forward to it. Then they did a silly head thing where it's like, we're family, but we're going to beat each other up. I don't know if they're going to do Eskimo kisses or something. I was kind of looking forward to that. But it's kind of, it's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. I still don't think they're going to take the belt off Roman. But, hello? Did he stay here? I need a new setup. But, yeah, that was Raw. We just a quick Raw recap. We do going to talk about Double or Nothing because that was the huge pay-per-view this weekend, and it was really, really, really good. But we talked about Raw, Logan Paul. WWE is building towards Clash in Italy. And the heavy focus on Roman Reigns appearing on Raw, upcoming dates through June. Which is crazy, because after WrestleMania, I was like, well, we're never going to see Raw. We're never going to see Roman again. And I was like, we're going to see Punk. And it was like the reverse. We don't see Punk. He's been out. He's been at Golden Knights games. And Roman's been every week. So that's crazy. Reports are swirling that a female wrestler may soon join the Vision. We've seen that. Maxine's talking to the Vision in the background. Maxine's talking to Austin Theory kind of outside of the Alpha Academy. So she's probably going to be the next female or the only female member of the Vision, which would be good. She fits in good, on eye candy. Brock Lesnar reportedly made a rare public appearance ahead of Clash in Italy. I don't know what this was. I don't know if it was a hardware store somewhere, but Brock just did a signing. Brock Lesnar doesn't do signings, especially at your local business. It was insane. I want to look more information up. So Brock Lesnar did a signing, a meet and greet at Emerald Park Home Hardware. That's crazy. I want Brock to come. Was it Saskatchewan, eh? Oh, is that why it was Canada? They're much nicer up there. So, yeah, that's crazy. Brock Lesnar doing a meet and greet in Saskatchewan, Canada. So I guess it was their version of Lowe's or Home Depot up in Canada. I've seen pictures. Brock was down aisle 6 by the shovels and the merch, and he just did some signings. That's awesome. Brock, come down to Vegas. I want to meet the next big thing. Shit, that'd be awesome. But, yeah. Recently released on V-Town, Nikki Cross and Big Damo purchased both Progress Wrestling and Defy Wrestling, which is a massive indie shakeup. We need something to shake up the indies. The indies are so bland. It's so I miss the indies when it was like Ring of Honor, when it was PWG, when it had all these different companies. Now it's like AEW and WWE, and you know, oh, you want to be in TNA? Well, you're in WWE. You want to be in NXT? Or you're in WWE? It's like we need something different. We need to spice up the indies, and I love the indies, but we need something. We need something. One thing we didn't need, which was a forgotten pitch. Former WWE writer Chris Dunn revealed on the Public Enemies podcast that this bizarre NWA reboot was pitched during the 2020 Thunderdome era. They were going to revamp the NWO with Sheamus, Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Lars Sullivan. What the was that? What a weird concept. Cesaro, Nakamura, Lars Sullivan, and Sheamus. Like, listen, just because you write down some shit doesn't mean you gotta do it. And I'm glad it wasn't done because this NWO doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Listen, I love factions, NWO, Four Horsemen, Evolution, DX, but wow. Which is funny because there is going to be a new segment we're going to do every, I don't know how to say, Monday or Tuesday, which will be NWO related. We're going to talk about that in just a few. But, Kevin Nash denied any involvement and making joke that COVID saved wrestling from the odd lineup. Well, COVID did a lot of bullshit, bad things, and that definitely saved that silliness. But we are going to talk about Double or Nothing because it was this weekend. I watched it. Listen, A+++++ pay-per-view. Now, I might shit on AEW, and I don't like Tony Schiavone, but damn, what a pay-per-view that was. From top to bottom, it was, I don't know what the word for a tennis win. It was a grand slam. It was a great event. We're going to talk about it. We're not going to get very into it. We're going to give the results, but Divine Dominion, Megan Bain, and Lena Cross, Evita Zeta Still, and Viva Van. 5 minutes. They won in 4 minutes, 46 seconds. Then the Death Riders, Claudio, Danny Garcia, and Willa Yuta defeated the Ops, Anthony Bowens, Hook, and Shibata in a trios match. And then Big Boom, AJ, Keely Marshall, the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Roger Trunk, with Big Justice, Harley Cameron, and the Whistler. What does he do? This? I don't know. He's 10. Defeated Shane Taylor, Anthony Gogo, Captain Sean Dean, Charlie Bravo, and Lee Moriarty. I saw that they got a little bit involved. So that was the pre-show. Then it opens up with the World AEW Tag Team Championship, New York Street Fight, I Quit. And we have new AEW World Tag Team Champions, Cage and Cope. Don't call them Edge or Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, with a little help from Beth. Shout out to Stokey Hathaway from going through a flaming table. I think he went along with Cash Wheeler or Dax Harwood. I don't know. They're both bald. I can't tell the difference. But yeah, Edge and Christian, which is crazy because if you think of Edge and Christian throughout everything, they only lasted like 3 years together, like 98 to 99 to like 2001. And now they're doing, once again, their AEW Championship together. So good for them. Toshida defeated Okada to win the International Championship. Then, I think this match. I'm not too sure. Then, the Proto Star, Kyle Fletcher, returned, turned on Takeshita, stayed with the Don Callis family, and kicked out Takeshita. It was a shocking moment, which nobody saw coming. Athena defeated Mini Sharakara in a quarterfinal Women's Owen Hart Cup. Good match. Athena is still the longest reigning Ring of Honor Women's Champion of all time. When is she going to lose her title? Then Moxley defeated Kyle O'Reilly. I didn't watch this match. I should. I love Moxley. I love Kyle O'Reilly. No time limit match. Listen, if we're going to have an 18-minute match, don't put a no time limit. I get it, but it's not needed. Ospreay defeated Samoa Joe, men's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal. Samoa Joe did say in AEW Dynamite that he has gonna go away for a few months. I think they're gonna film the next season of Twisted Metal, which I need to see. I grew up on Twisted Metal. I haven't seen any of the episodes. And then Swerve Strickland defeated Bandito by pinfall in the men's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal. Tekla retained the AEW Women's World Championship against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statler, and why can't I say this name? Hakurushita. Hakurushita. I don't know. I'm sorry. Some people just... I got something stuck in my tooth. But then the next two matches, what can you say? Stadium Stampede, Jericho, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin, Elite, Kenny Omega, Jungle Jack Perry, Cousins Nick and Matt defeated the Demand, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Theo Leona, Don Callis family, Mark Davis, and Andrade, and the Dogs, Clark Connor, and David Finlay. Great match, battled all throughout. I heard New York Athletic Commission didn't allow blood, so there couldn't be any blood. No blood. Oh no, can't have any blood. But it was great. Luther made a cameo. Luchasaurus made a cameo. Jack Perry tried to run over Mark Davis with his truck. It was great. And then Jericho did something silly at the end, tribute to Sabu, and jumped through a table. Which I know Sabu used to do back in the day, but like, you know, I'm trying to make believe wrestling's real. You ain't gonna jump through the table, you know. But then the main event, one main event I love. I watched it. I should have done a watch along, but MJF, yes, he is not bald. He is three-time AEW World Champion. He defeated Darby Allin by pinfall. Darby, what a man! What a superstar. Okay, it was a little weird seeing Darby with the title because Darby's more of like the outsider, the guy who's trying to get that title. Now that he had the title, he lost the title to MJF. But yeah, and then Kevin Knight came out, was like, "Hey Darby, I'm gonna turn on you." Yes, he jumped off the top rope while Darby was on a stretcher, did his little twisty frog splash, and turned on Darby Allin. What a dick. But AEW Double or Nothing, Brat Best. The Brat Best Award definitely goes to you. But a little bit of updates. Let's look at the men's Owen Hart Classic, or Owen Hart Cup. Ospreay, Samoa Joe. Ospreay moves on. Mark Davis defeated Jungle Jack Perry on Dynamite. Yeah, on Dynamite. So Mark Davis moves on. Swerve Strickland defeated Bandito at Double or Nothing. And Brody King defeated Claudio Castagnoli on Dynamite. So it's Will Ospreay, Mark Davis, Swerve Strickland, and Brody King in the semifinals. And for the women, we still got Athena moving on. That wild card to face Alex Windsor is still up in the air. That's going to happen on Dynamite next week. But yeah, what a show. Double or Nothing, I received positive reviews from critics. 9.5 out of 10. A phenomenal pay-per-view. Successful. And yeah, so yes. A lot of people are like, oh, it's better than WrestleMania. Yeah, well, WrestleMania didn't set the bar very high, okay? Wasn't much competition there, guys. But hey, they are going to have Forbidden Door next month, June 28th, San Jose, California. So that's when the finals of the Owen Hart Cup is going to be held. But wow, what a show. Good for AEW. So yeah. Let's see. MJF regained the AEW World Championship. AEW has also announced a brand new pay-per-view called Redemption for July in Montreal, Canada. The company continues pushing its new streaming platform by AEW. Backstage chatter is picking up about FTR's contract status and possible WWE interest. I think FTR is going to re-sign. They're so much better in AEW than they would be in WWE. There are reporting the plans being discussed for a three-way TLC match at All In involving Cope, Cage, I think the Young Bucks, and FTR. Listen, I would love that. That's a dream match. But no, I don't want to see Cage. I don't want to see Cope in a ladder match with tables and chairs at their age. I mean, we don't. You know, they could still go, but Edge's looking a little bit old, man. Edge's looking a little bit old in that match, you know. And MVP made headlines after publicly blasting Triple H, calling him a liar and a coward. I didn't see this interview, but, I mean, I did, but I saw that clip. But I don't know. But we do got to go back in time because on this day, back in 1996, Scott Hall transformed the WCW into what we know as it is now by jumping ship and appearing on Nitro during a match between the Mauler and Steve Dahl. Actually, I just watched this about 10 minutes ago, and it was actually a pretty good match, I'm not gonna lie. But you all know what happened. He comes out in the crowd. He's like, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Where is Billionaire Ted? Where is the Nacho Man? So we're going to do a segment because the New World Order was one of the greatest factions of all time. So let's see. It's going to be an NWO segment. We're going to get to Bash the Beach and that's it. We're not going to talk about what happened. But on May 19th, 1996, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash wrestled their final matches as Razor Ramon and Diesel. We all remember the curtain call. Inside the cage, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, and Razor Ramon. He signed with WCW on May 27th. That's why I'm doing this. Edition Nitro. Hall came out through the crowd during a match between the Mauler and Steve Dahl. Hall emerged from the crowd and entered the ring, bringing the match to a halt, and called for the ring announcer's microphone. And Hall escorted, let's see, you people know who I am. You want a war, you got one. And then challenged WCW Executive Vice President Bischoff and other WCW wrestlers. As the episode neared its end, Hall accosted Bischoff, who is also the lead broadcaster for Nitro at the time, in the broadcast booth and demanded that he tell WCW Ted Turner to pick 3 of the best wrestlers for a war. So, pretty much, Scott Hall made his WCW debut and said, hey, I got a friend coming, and you're going to find out who that friend is next week. And we're going to find out who that friend is next week because that will be the next segment of the NWO Brat Said That recap. So yeah, what a heck of a time it was. We're going to talk about the MMA because we do have MMA back. UFC is back again this week. We had a week off from UFC, but now we got it back, and it's going to be in Macau. I think that's how you pronounce it. Macau, China. Song Yadong versus Davison Figueiredo. Bantamweight bout in the main event. Galaxy Arena in China. I am looking forward to this card. Not much to say. Davison Figueiredo, former UFC flyweight champion, looking to get his name in the UFC bantamweight division. Song Yadong, he's getting there. He's almost there. He is just so close. He's lost to Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley. He just needs a couple wins, and he is right there with the title shot. It's going to be a good card. I was a little heartbroken. There was no UFC last week, but, co-main event, Zhang Min Yang versus Alonzo Menafield for light heavyweight bout. Sergey Pavlovich versus Taliesin Teixeira, I talk a lot. And it's going to be a good card. It's going to be a good card. May 30th. Not much to talk about MMA world. I gotta agree. I gotta say something that I don't want to say, but it does seem like the UFC White House is happening. There is construction pictures. They got cranes. They got beams. They got the whole layout. So June 14th, UFC Freedom 250. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna have to watch it, and who knows? It's still a great card. Actually, I lied. It's not that great of a card that they hyped up. But it's still going to be a card. It's still going to be on the White House lawn. Ilya Tapourier, Justin Gaethje, Alex Ferreira, Cyril Gahn, Sean O'Malley, Zahabi, Josh Hokig, Derek Lewis, Michael Chandler, Mauricio Ruffy, Bo Nickel, Kyle Dawkins, and Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia. So, yeah. So if you can get your tickets, make sure you get them. Because you know what tickets you can't get? You can't get tickets to UFC 329, McGregor versus Holloway 2, because that is completely sold out. We all saw that coming. We all knew that was going to be sold out. So, if you want to learn more about the White House card, Dana White is on the cover of Time Magazine. Time Magazine, it's a magazine. What is Time Magazine? I never really Time Magazine, obviously, it's a news magazine. Weekly for nearly a century. Wow. Every other week from 2020. 1 million in total circulation. Holy shit. The cover of the first issue of Time Magazine, March 3rd, 1923, featuring Speaker of the House Joseph Gannon. So if anybody asks you, hey, who was on the cover of the first Time Magazine? Well, you can be like, hey, I was watching Brat Said That, and he said it was going to be the Speaker of the House, Joseph G. Gannon. But, yeah. So that is the MMA portion of the show. I don't think there's any other MMA news we need to talk about. But let's move on. Let's move on. Because the NBA playoffs are almost over. We just said the Spurs tied up. It's going to be Game 7, Spurs and Thunder. The Knicks with the sweep of the Cavaliers. Yes, the Knicks-hausen done it. The curse of Danhausen is real. Back to the finals since 1999. Jalen Brunson won the Eastern Conference MVP. 11-game playoff streak is still intact. But I do want to look back to 1999. Look back at the 1999 NBA Finals. Because that was the last time the Knicks were in the finals. And they fought the San Antonio Spurs with Coach Greg Popovich. The New York Knicks, Coach Jeff Van Gundy. Spurs, number 1 seed, 37-13. Knicks, number 8 seed, 27-23. Wow, that is insane. First round, Knicks defeated the Miami Heat, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Indiana Pacers. And the first round, the Spurs defeated the Timberwolves, the Lakers. They swept the Lakers and the Portland Trail Blazers. The New York Knicks and Spurs did not play each other in the regular season. San Antonio Spurs roster, Tim Duncan, Avery Johnson, Steve Kerr, David Robinson. And the Knicks roster, Marcus Camby, Patrick Ewing, who did not play, he was injured. Allen Houston, Larry Johnson, Latrell Sprewell, and Rick Brunson, the father of Jalen Brunson. Knicks lost game 1, 89-77. San Antonio won game 2, 80-67. Knicks won game 3, 89-81, and the Spurs won game 4 to 5 to win it, 96-89, 78-77. But the MVP was, I think, Tim Duncan. Hall of Famer Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Tim Duncan MVP. So yeah, that was 1999. But I want to go back to 1999. Yes, let's go see what happened in 1999. 1999 was the final year of the 20th century. The Y2K bug was all the rage. Don't turn on your computers at midnight. At January 1st, 2000, we're all gonna blow up. Nothing happened. But in 1999, was introduced to a little iconic sponge. SpongeBob SquarePants didn't make his debut. Prince's iconic 1982 hit anthem 1999, which obviously, resurgence. We talked about the Spurs won the first NBA championship. Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl. Manchester United competed a historic European treble. What the fuck is a treble? By winning the Premier League, FA Cup, and UEFA Championship League. So let's see what else happened in 1999. Let's see. President Clinton was in a little trouble there, you know what I mean? Let's see what movie was 1999. The Y2K bug, Clinton impeachment. In February, the Senate acquitted President Bill Clinton of perjury and obstruction of justice. Unfortunately, we did have the Columbine school massacre in Colorado and the sudden death of JFK Jr. in a plane crash. MTV was nominated by NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears. Hit Me Baby One More Time. Meanwhile, Ricky Martin sparked a massive Latin pop crossover with Livin' La Vida Loca. We had movies like The Matrix, Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, The Blair Witch Project. Whoa. And American Beauty won the Academy Award for Best Picture. So yeah, that was 1999. Let's see how much gas was. This is gonna really piss you off. Gas prices. In 1999, the average price for a gallon of gas in the United States was $1.17 to $1.22. Holy fuck. Roughly $2.12 in today's money. But yeah. But on the other side, we did talk about the Knicks. We did talk about the Western Conference. The Oklahoma City leads. No, I'm sorry. San Antonio and Oklahoma City are tied up 3-3. Game 7. I can't wait. I can't believe my Maverick self is rooting for the Spurs, because I think the Spurs would be a little bit I don't want to say easier, but Victor Wembanyama, who's having a absolutely phenomenal year. Kind of not surprising, but speaking of Victor Wembanyama, one of one numbered 2023-24 Panini Prism Black card sold for $5.11 million. Why can't I find a card like that? Like when I'm like, listen, I have so much shit here. I have so much shit. Why can't that Funko Pop of Chris Farley be worth like $1 million? But the NBA Finals are set to start June 3rd to the 19th. Hopefully, they play on my birthday. A 9-day break for the Knicks. And this did, however, this year they didn't announce the awards. And we love awards, so we're going to talk about the awards. I know the Coach of the Year award is out to Joe Mazzulla for the Boston Celtics. Yes, most valuable player. We talked about it, Shea. Defensive Player of the Year, Victor Wembanyama. Rookie of the Year, Al Cooper Flag. Sixth Man of the Year, Keldon Johnson, Most Improved Player. Nikolai Alexander-Walker from the Hawks. Clutch Player of the Year, they gave it back to Shea. Executive of the Year, Brad Stevens from the Celtics. NBA Sportsman Award, Derek White from the Boston Celtics. Hello, there's more teams in the Celtics. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you. I'm going to really quickly do the NBA first team. Cade, Luka, Shea, Nick Jokic, and Wembanyama. NBA second team. Jalen, Kevin, Kawhi, and Donovan Mitchell. That was Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson. Third team, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, Jalen Johnson, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Jordan. There is a lot of Jalens in the NBA right now. Holy shit. And we talked about why the name Jalen is Jalen. But, yeah, no LeBron in any of these teams. NBA All-Defense First Team, Victor, Chet, Azor Thompson, Rudy Gobert, Derek White, Scotty Barnes, Cousin Wallace, Bam, 81, Adebayo, OG Adebayo, and Dyson Daniels. They're the NBA All-Defensive Second Team. But, yeah, the Knicks, let's talk about the Knicks. What a Danhausen performance. Swept Cavaliers. I'm sorry to say, the Miz, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer because the Danhausen curse is real and it led to the Knicks being in the finals. I am excited. I cannot wait. June 3rd, we're going to talk all about it. But you know what else we need to talk about? We need to move on to the NHL because the Western Conference Championship, the Vegas Golden Knights sweep Colorado Avalanche. It's a bitter-edged sword because, listen, I am a Penguins fan. I love my Pittsburgh Penguins. They just signed Malkin for a 1 year, $5.5 million deal. And I love the Colorado Avalanche. I do. But the Vegas in me was so happy to see Vegas sweep Colorado. Colorado will bounce back. They're going to win another Stanley Cup in a few years or maybe next year. But the third Stanley Cup appearance in 9 years. What an absolute insane thing to do. And Carolina, Montreal. going back and forth, back and forth. I don't know who's winning that. Let's see. NHL. The Carolina Hurricanes lead 3-1. So tomorrow they can clinch it, and it'll be Carolina versus Vegas. And if you know me, I'm not a big fan of the Carolinas. But yeah, what a crazy, what a great way for the Vegas Golden Knights. I can't wait. I told my boss jokingly, I said, here, let's work around that schedule. Just make sure I'm home in time for the game. But yes, the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. The Golden Knights are going to the Stanley Cup. What can be better? What can be better? How about a no-hitter? Yes, MLB. You hate to say it with the Astros. The Trash Stros threw a no-hitter. And listen, throwing a no-hitter is very impressive. But a combined effort, 6 innings, 1 inning, 2 innings, I don't really think it's the same thing. Now, perfect games, we'll talk about perfect games, but this was a combined no-hitter. I don't think that counts. And I'm not saying that because I don't like the Astros. I don't think that counts. But let's look at the standings. We haven't talked about baseball standings in a while. Right now, the Rays are on top of the American League East. Yankees right behind them. In the American League Central, the Guardians are in first place. And who's that 3 games behind? The Chicago White Sox. Looking great, 29-27. In the West, we got the Mariners and the Athletics neck and neck with the Astros. Oh my God, the Astros are 26-32. Mariners are 28-29. What a shit. If we were in the West, we would be number 1. National League, the Braves looking to be the first team to get to 40 wins, 38-19. The Brewers and the Cubs, NL Central, right there. And the National League East, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and Padres, all with 30 wins. So that is a really good, we're just like 2 months away from the All-Star Game, Home Run Derby. I can't wait for that. We're all going to, last year I bet money. The only time in my 12 years of living in Vegas did I bet money. 14 years, actually. 13 years. On Jazz Chisholm to win the Home Run Derby. He had 2 home runs. I should have put money on Cal Raleigh. But, I know there is some news we're going to talk about. We haven't going to talk about. I do want to talk about it next show because I don't want to overload this show with some stuff. But we do have to give out the BratWURST Award. And that's going to go to Green Bay Packers star running back Josh Jacobs, formerly with the Raiders, was arrested Tuesday and booked on several domestic violence charges, according to the Wisconsin Police Department. Jacobs, 28, was booked on charges of battery, domestic abuse, criminal damage to property, domestic abuse, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. Wow. So, yeah, I don't know the whole story, but that is a very BratWURST worthy incident. So, Josh Jacobs, you got the BratWURST Award because, let's see, dispatch audio reveals yelling, screaming, and that page is not there. Released from custody, charges on hold. So, Brown County DA not ready to formally charge Packers DB. They might not be ready to charge you, but I'm ready to give you the BratWURST Award. So, yeah, not good, man. Not good. It doesn't seem like this is like a career-ending thing. Things go up and down. Faces alleged felony strangulation assault. So, yeah. Boo you. But I don't think there's any other, news to talk about. I mean, there is. We're going to talk about, I know we had a death. The hockey legend passed away. We're going to talk about that next. Former NHL star Claude Lemieux died by suicide. That's sad, man. What? 60 years old, man. Suicide. That's so heartbreaking, man. So we're going to talk more about that next week. Next show. I think we're going to go on Saturday. But, Spurs won big. But let's talk about the reason why we're here. Let's talk about the Beatles. Yes, the Beatles were a huge part of growing up. I love the Beatles. My dad loved the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. They only lasted 10 years, which is crazy if you really think about it. From Liverpool, England, we all remember Abbey Road. Let's see. They started Beatlemania. Wow, everything. February 11th, 1963, the Beatles recorded 10 songs during a single studio session. Please, Please Me. Touring years. Their first visit to the United States, that British invasion. Who can forget their time on the Ed Sullivan Show, February 1964. People were losing their shit. By the way, okay. BTS, not Brat Said, the boy band, the Korean boy band, was recently here last weekend or this weekend. Bro, they were at Allegiant Stadium for like 3 days, sold out every day, 60,000 plus. There was people, not even women, there was people lining up miles for merch. Insane. Absolutely insane. You want to talk about that? BTS mania is real too. Then you got the Hard Day's Night of film. I watched it. It was a great film. 1964 World Tour. I'm just going to go through Wikipedia. There's so much to talk about. Why are we talking about it too? Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I made fun of it. Not made fun of it. I tribute them in the thumbnail. The Yellow Submarine. If you've ever been to my house, you see I have a huge Yellow Submarine poster. All You Need Is Love. And then, Abbey Road, then the Let It Be, and the separation, the breakup of the Beatles, the Yoko Ono breaks up the Beatles. Heartbreaking. Paul McCartney, legend. Ringo Starr, legend. And then, unfortunately, in 1980, John Lennon was murdered outside of his New York apartment. He was only 40. I didn't know John Lennon was that young when he got shot. Wow. Yeah. Mark David Chapman shot him outside of his studio apartment. Well, not a studio apartment. You can afford a few bedrooms. But damn, I just remember that happened during I think it was Monday, and they came over the Monday Night Football, and they said that John Lennon was shot. What an insane, I wasn't even there, but what an insane time. Heartbreaking. And then I remember George Harrison passing away in 2001. I don't know if I was on vacation or somewhere. I think I was going down to my brother's Marine thing, and we were sitting in a fast food place, and we watched it on TV. That happened. He died at 58. I think he died of throat cancer, so watch out for these cigarettes. Paul McCartney's still doing it. He's still doing great. Let's get a good, quick recap of the Beatles for the Brat Said That. Let's just ask my producer, ChatGPT, come up with a quick recap, okay? The Beatles were an English rock band formed in Liverpool in 1960, featuring John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Often called the most influential band in music history, they transformed popular music with albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Revolver, Abbey Road, and the Beatles. By the way, Abbey Road, if you ever see Abbey Road, there was one guy, not a Beatle, who is standing off in the back in the distance. That's my favorite Easter egg of all time, because he's been on record saying, he just went outside to get some air, and then they shot the infamous shot, and he was right there. Between 1963 and 1970, Beatlemania became a worldwide phenomenon, producing countless hit songs and changing everything from music production to fashion and pop culture. Who remembers the hair? The Beatles' hair? The Beatles? The group officially broke up in 1970, but their influence remained so massive that more than 50 years later, they're still one of the most best-selling and most celebrated acts of all time. And a Brat closer, 7 years together, hundreds of songs, countless records. They changed music forever, and somehow we're still arguing about whether John, Paul, George, or Ringo was the MVP. That's a dynasty even the Patriots would respect. I don't think I'll throw on the Patriots, but yeah. So, yeah, dude, it's insane, man. It just, I want to see like a huge band like that now. Like it's crazy if you really think about it. 10 years together as a band, and just the impact they had with everything. Best-selling act of all time, with an estimated sales of over 600 million unit worldwide. They're the most successful act in history of the U.S. Billboard charts, with most number one singles on the U.S. Hot 100 Billboard. Back to time. Named them among the 20th century 100 most important people. So, yeah, that is a little history lesson of the Beatles. I can't give a good history lesson, but there was a lot of let's see, the Beatles timeline. Oh wow, that's cool. They have a whole timeline. So let's see, let's go to April 12th, 1968. The Harrisons and Lennon leave they did that the retreat, the Rishikesh retreat. The Maharishi. I remember that. I wasn't there, but I remember it. Hey Jude Revolution. Hey Jude. 1968. 1969, Lennon marries Yoko Ono. The Ballad of John and Yoko. Let's go to the happier times. 65. 8 days a week. 8 days a week. Help is yesterday. Oh, come on. I can go all day, but I'm not going to go all day. But I am going to say, that's it for the show. The Knicks are in the finals. The Golden Knights are in the Stanley Cup. MJF is a 3-time AEW champion. So let's recap the show. Let's recap the show. All right. Raw. It happened. Clash in Italy. Let's look at the card real quick because some things did happen. Clash in Italy. Let's go back to that real quick. Clash in Italy. We're gonna have Oba versus Brock 2. Becky versus Soroka for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fott 2. Tribal Combat for the World Heavyweight Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Singles match for the WWE Women's Championship. And Cody versus Gunter. WWE Undisputed Championship. I think Gunter's going to win. I think it's time you put the belt on Gunter. So, we're going to be back on Saturday? Saturday. We'll be back on Saturday. So, Logan Paul's out. Clash in Italy is this Sunday. Double or Nothing. What a show. Shout out to AEW. Scott Hall made his WCW debut and launched what can be the beginning of the NWO. We're going to find out next week. Who is their big man that he's talking about? UFC Fight Night, Song versus Figueiredo. Bantamweight bout in China. And I'm going to look forward to that. Playoffs. The Knicks are going to take on either their Oklahoma City Thunder, or the San Antonio Spurs. NBA Finals start June 3rd and 19th. Colorado is out, and the Vegas Golden Knights made the Stanley Cup for the 17th time. The show. Who are they going to face? Carolina or Montreal? We shall see. Nothing really happened in NBA or MLB. NHL, Josh Jacobs, you got the BratWURST Award of the Week. And the Beatles and the miscellaneous. So, yeah, we're going to talk more about some things that happened this week. Next show, episode 65. So, as always, follow me on Twitter, Brat Said That X, Instagram, Brat Jackson, the O and Jackson 0, YouTube, Brat Said That, and Spotify, Brat Jackson. I'm going to get off right now because it's time. Anyway, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be such a, go Knicks, go Golden Knights, and go you, because I love you. And love each other. And love yourself. I love sports. Alright, we'll be back on Saturday. Friday, I guess. Bye.